Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Fun Stamper's Journey and their monthly stamp kit with Spellbinders. So this was actually pretty cool. So this is called Sentiment Stacks, and there's a total of 36 stamps in this set. So what I really liked about this was they grouped all of the sentiments that would go together. No, not that one. That's the name of the stamp. But you can say, many thanks. Thanks a million. Thanks. I appreciate you. Or I appreciate you. That one can be by itself. Hugs and kisses by itself. But you can say all of these different things. Now, here's what's great. So they help you with this. What's great is they're all separate. So you can build even more sentiment sets with this pack and then add some embellishments and so forth with this. So what I've done is I dug into my stash. So I've pulled in a couple of prior paper pads by Spellbinders, the Hey Foxy, because I was absolutely in love with some of these florals that were in there. And then Love the Moment because, lots of beautiful images through this. So I just chose some of the papers from that. I'm also pulling in the Spellbinders hem stitch rectangles. You've seen me use this before and recently. And the reason I looked at this and that image right there really inspired me. I'm like, oh my God, pattern paper. We can do that. We can pull this in. We can create frames. So with that, I've also pulled in some solid cardstock from my stash. And I have 3 different sets pulled up, and you can see where I'm going to put my sentiments. So just to create layers upon layers and upon layers is something that I really, really love to do. So let me get started. I'm going to choose my sentiments and we will be right back. Okay, so picked out my sentiments and how we're going to do this. So I have I appreciate you. So you can see you don't have to layer it with any of the larger sentiments, so to speak. Love is all you need. And then, of course, hello. All right, so let's get these set up and we'll get our images stamped. Now, yes, these are red rubber stamps. Yes, you can use them in your, in your stamp positioners. But one of the things that you don't have when it comes to your stamp positioner, you can do the same thing. But if you just have, this is called a stamp-a-majig, okay? And this is by, I think, Inkadinkado. And then you get a piece of plastic. This is just one that I'm using right now. And here's the beauty. So you want to make sure that you have a square acrylic block. I actually get these from my local craft store. For like $1. So yes, tons. And because you want to make sure that it's going in this nook here. All right. So you want to make sure that you've got that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to use my VersaFine black ink for all of my sentiments. And we're going to do the first one. So what I want to do, I'm going to put this plastic up into the corner, just like that, and then I'm going to stamp this down. Okay, so I know since it's positioned on here, and where this is positioned, whenever I do this, that's where it's going to be. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in my little tiny card here. So I'm going to position this where I want it to be on my piece of cardstock. I want to center it as best as I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this in place. And now I'm going to remove my plastic. I'm going to not move that. I'm going to stamp up my image. I'm going to hold this down. And I'm going to stamp down. And I'm going to lift straight up. And now I know that that is where I wanted it to be. Let's say that. All right, so that is all set. So I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to let that dry. And of course, I don't have a baby wipe and I need a baby wipe. And I got my baby wipes. All right, so I'm going to clean that stamp off. So we'll put that one away. So now this one, I'm not going to be too worried. Oh, and to clean my plastic, I could just wipe that away. And what will really clean your plastic is just some alcohol. So I'll just put some alcohol on that and it'll come up just fine. So for this one, I want them to be on an angle. So I'm not really worried about them being centered or anything like that. So I am going to use my circle. I'm going to pick both of them up. I'm going to ink them up. And then I know I'm just going to come right down. Make sure I get a good impression. And I'm going to lift up. And that looks great. So I have that. Clean my stamps again. And now I am going to use my stamp positioner again for this one. So you can see I'm going to come in with a little bit of alcohol. I'm going to spray this off camera because I don't want the alcohol to go onto this. I'm going to come in with my towel. And you can see it's all gone. All right. So now I'm just going to turn this over. I'm going to set that up. I'm not really worried about this piece down there. I just want to know what this is like when I have this set up. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. And I'm going to go straight down. And now I know that's what that's going to look like. Now I'm going to ink up my stamp and just set that aside. All right, so now I'm going to pull in my cardstock. And again, I'm going to set this up. And I'm just going to make it as straight as I can. You know, again, this is all, it's all relative. I think. All right, so that to me looks pretty straight. So again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to place my contraption down there. I'm going to remove the plastic, making sure that the cardstock and this piece does not move. I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm going to add my pressure, and then I'm going to come straight down and stamp my image. And I'm going to lift up, and that's because I tilted it for that. But I'm okay with that. Again, it's all good. All right. So, and that's how you use, this is what we used to use for stamp positioner. Now I'm going to spray this again off camera because, again, I don't want to get all of my things wet with alcohol. But again, you know, this is what we used first. And you know what? It is just as good. There's so many out there. I know Inkadinkadoo has one. I know, I think Wendy Vecchi and I'm probably saying that name wrong because I always do. I think she just came out with one. I know Art Impressions has one. So again, they're all good. And it's something to have. Now again, you can also make one out of Legos and all that fun stuff too. So whatever you're looking for, if you want one. Okay, so let me get my ink closed. Let me get my card bases. Let's see, I think I'm actually, I think I want them all to be ivory. Let me get my scoreboard. And using my paper creaser, we will score these. Again, I always cut my card bases at 4 1/4 by 11, and then I score them at 5 1/2. I do lean towards a top folding standard A2 size card base, and again, that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it is a top folding card base. I do not know why. It is something that for some reason, I just gravitated to that style. Now, it doesn't mean I can't have a side folding. That just means that my side folding would be in a landscape format. But if it's a portrait card, it is a top folding. So I am going to set this down. I'm going to use some double-sided tape. And I'm going to put that in the center. And I'm also going to use some thinner double-sided tape. Some 1/8 of an inch width as well. Okay, so I found that because I cannot find my glue right now. So, yay. And I'm just going to put it on the sides since I have plenty going on in the center. We can just take care of it that way. Going to use my craft pick to remove the release paper. And I'm going to set this down. Again, it's going to give me some borders, a very thin border. So the largest die in this set, okay, and what's great is it does give you the dimensions. So when it comes to the extra large frame, all right, this is cutting it to be about 4 1/8, all right, by 5 3/8. Just to give you that small border there. And let's see, I think I'm going to, I wonder if this one will fit. Oh, yay! All right, so we're just going to use the large. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm not going over the circles or the openings that have been cut there. Again, we're going to remove the release paper. And yes, I'm throwing it off to the side. And I'm going to set this in the center. And I like the way you can see the design coming through that. I'm a little crooked on that, but that's okay. I'm going to grab some double-sided foam squares, and we're just going to prop this up. That was just something in my throat. And we will remove the release papers. And I will need to make sure, since this will be a landscape card, that my fold is to that side. And now I'm going to put this right in the center as well. Now, what's great with that sentiment too, you can add some colored pencils to it just to give it some more color. But I do like the look of the monochrome of just the black onto the ivory. And I'm going to set that right in the center as well. So that is our first one using the sentiments. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. Now for this one, I'm going to set this onto an angle. And again, using our double-sided tape. Again, removing that release paper. Oops, almost lost that. We're going to set that down on an angle. There we go. And again, we're going to set that on an angle as well. So what's cool is if I do this, it actually looks straight and we can still see the beautiful pattern paper in the background. I am going to use some more double-sided foam squares just to prop this up. I'm going to remove that release paper. And yes, I'm literally throwing it off to the side. Going to make sure this is straight. Set that down. And more double-sided tape. While I know we use rectangles and, we use very basic shapes for the most part when it comes to our card making. But no, just because it's a basic shape, it does not have to sit on your card as the basic shape. So you can set it, I'm going right up underneath this here. There we go. You can set it up any way that you want. And that's the wonderfulness of our craft. So we've got that one. And here we have this one. We're going to set our first layer down. So you can see just by having your sentiments and using a die set, something that, a basic shape can be used extremely universal. Wow, that one I just literally threw off the table. Wow. Okay. So now we're going to set this. These last two panels here were cut 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so they are covering up the entire front of my standard A2 size card bases. Again, I'm going to add some foam squares just to prop this up. I'm going to remove the release papers. Yeah, thinking when you have nails it works, it does not. I'm just saying. I'm going to try to center that. And then this one here is also going to be centered there. And it came back in. And we're just going to get that centered as best as we can. I loved the way this looked on this panel. So I'm actually going to have that coming down just off of this. So I'm going to take this foam square and I'm going to put them along here. I'm hoping I did that right. Yes! Let's see, we'll get one piece right in here. All right, now let's get that release paper. And let's get that. And we will set that right there. So now everything's even. So here are our 3 cards. Again, using the Fun Stampers Journey stamp set of the month, and it's called Sentiment Stacks. So many choices. They can be serious, they can be funny. This one I love. I made it weird. Absolutely love that. You have just so many, you know, where is that? Okay, no, I thought I said it. Or I thought I had that. Totally miss your face. That's always fun. But I thought it said I really miss your face. Something like that. But you can have, as you can see, all kinds of fun. So we've made some portrait cards. We've made some landscape cards. And again, just using your dies and having fun with the shapes will allow you to create many cards in no time. Again, just using what you have in your stash. So I do hope you enjoyed this. As always, all the products that I use will be linked down below in the video description, along with the Spellbinders blog, inspiration gallery, other information on their products, and then of course their shop. So if you want to take the time to check that out, it will be available down in the video description. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure you leave those down below as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe, so make sure you hit that button. Make sure you ring the bell so that you know when the next video is live and ready for you to watch. And as always, hit that thumbs up. Yes, we make you do many things. Anyway, as I said, I do hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you're enjoying the day. But always remember what's most important to me each and every day. We just got to do it just a little bit. Always be creative.